All right, Nika, Bears rookie minicamp is over, and we are talking about it all right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
This bullet just handed to me.
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
More than anything, I know we'll hit the grass and we'll have walkthroughs and all that, but it's more about just introducing them to our way of life. And so that's really the objective here over the next 2 days.
Yes, indeed, this is Breaking Bears right here on the KeNikka Sports channel. But first, it's time to jump.
Might as well jump. Go ahead and jump.
That's right. If it is your first time here, we are asking you to please jump right in and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and ring that bell for our official mascot, Frexy. Look at her, everybody. She is just the most adorable little puppy, and she brings so much joy into our lives, and we hope she brings some joy to yours as well.
Thank you.
All right, Nika. Well, Bears rookie mini camp has concluded, and there were some fun highlights that I thought we should cover from both the coaching staff and the Bears social media team. And let's start with the social media highlights because it's just more visually interesting to kick things off. We got Dylan Thieneman and Keyshawn Elliott arriving, and they were followed by Logan Jones, the potentially new starting center for your Chicago Bears. Remains to be seen. And then, of course, here is Zavion Thomas, everybody. And cameras caught him, even though he's super, super fast.
Nice.
And then a few of the rookies signed their deals. I'm not sure if all of the rookies have signed their deals, but Zavion Thomas, Keyshawn Elliott, and Jordan Vandenberg were shown inking the deal and smiling for the cameras.
Show me the money!
But all of your Bears draft picks, all 7 of them, were assigned numbers, everybody. Malik Muhammad is going to be wearing number 24. Dylan Thieneman, number 31. Keyshawn Elliott, number 49. Logan Jones, number 54. And that is, of course, the great Brian Urlacher's number. Zavion Thomas is going to be wearing number 81, which I was excited about because I feel like the Bears haven't had a ton of great 81 receivers, though Rashid Davis does come to mind. And then Sam Roush wearing number 87. I noticed he changed from his college number, which was 86. And then Jordan Vandenberg, number 96.
The Bears. The Bears.
So
Nice.
There are your new Bears numbers if you need to find them on the field, everybody.
Okay.
Also, the list of all the undrafted free agents was officially released by the Bears social media team. And we, of course, did a whole piece on that, which you should go check out because there are some fascinating names on this list, like Caden Barnett, everybody, the Vanilla Gorilla. Here are the first day out pictures, and if you notice, these are indoors, and this is in the Walter Payton Center. No outdoor practice for rookie minicamp this weekend, but Dylan Thieneman pictured here, and then also Keyshawn Elliott. There is Sam Roush with Ben Johnson. Malik Muhammad giving a fist bump to Al Harris, his new secondary coach, defensive backs coach. And as you can see, the Bears did go a little defensive slanted in this draft with 4 defenders in the picture and 3 offensive players added to the mix.
Welcome aboard.
Great looking group of guys. And here is their group selfie, Nika.
Sweet.
That was the social media highlights, but there was also some press conferences going on, and Ben Johnson got it going on day 1. I wanted to play his opening statement really quickly here because I thought he set a really good tone for the Bears and their rookie minicamp here.
I know we got a lot of energy. Coaching staff's excited to get going. And really, more than anything, I know we'll hit the grass and we'll have walkthroughs and all that, but it's more about just introducing them to our way of life. And so that's really the objective here over the next 2 days. Good start already last night. I know a lot of information was digested, and we'll see it come to life here today. But, it's a great start for us, this offseason program, and getting them integrated with the vets on Monday will be an awesome thing as well. So
this is really just orientation at work for all of these new players and all of these undrafted free agents too. They got to learn their way around the building, around the locker room, and even where certain drills take place on the field.
This is just the beginning.
All right, Nika, now that we got Ben Johnson's opening statement out of the way, I wanted to turn my attentions to something he said about 12 and 13 personnel in the NFL. This was an answer to a question about, I think, why the Bears decided to go with Sam Roush as their third-round draft pick, because, you know, many people out in Bears land, both in the media and on social media, are still kind of scratching their heads about why the Bears did not prioritize a defensive edge rusher more in this draft after what we all saw last season.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
And yet, I think there are a lot of good reasons why we didn't draft one, and here's Ben Johnson on that 12 and 13 personnel.
And when you look back at the draft and see 22 tight ends draft, just what does that kind of tell you about where the league?
Yeah, well, there were a number of really good players coming out this year, and you know, we were fortunate to get one that we feel really highly about, that can contribute run game, pass pro, catching down the field. We feel like we got one of the more complete tight ends that this draft had to offer. But in regards to big picture and just where the league is going, obviously teams have had success with the 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. Things kind of always go full circle, it seems like. And it wasn't that long ago that 3 receiver sets were kind of the norm, and now it seems to be transition on over a little bit more. But I think the more you can look to attack the defense, whether it's you want to give them a base defense or you feel comfortable competing against them when they're in their sub defenses, it just the flexibility that tight ends give you, I think it adds a dimension to your offense.
So a couple things that stand out here from what he had to say is that, well, one thing was in the question, 22 tight ends were drafted in the 2026 draft, 9 of them coming in the first 3 rounds. This is a sign to me that the NFL is once again remaining a copycat league.
Of course.
And as more teams use 12 and 13 personnel with 2 or 3 tight ends out on the field at one time, other teams are going to want to get a piece of that action and start to do it themselves. And so you might start to see more teams using 12 and 13 personnel. Shocker, right? I know.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know?
By the way, last year was the Bears.
The Bears. Ah, the Bears.
And they lost Durham Smythe, one of their tight ends. So I guess we shouldn't really be surprised that Ben Johnson prioritized getting that 13th man for the personnel system, at least out there. And it's not that there's 13 guys on the field. I don't want to confuse people. But 12 and 13 just means you're going big and bigger.
Hell yeah!
He also mentions how much tight ends can help you attack defenses because of their flexibility. They can be running pass routes. They can also take advantage of undersized linebackers on shorter routes. They get a lot of mismatches out there. And you can also, when you have 3 of them, you are more likely to find a mismatch somewhere, even if the first 2 options are covered. So exciting stuff when you think about it. I think it's safe to assume that the Bears are going to be running a lot of 12 and 13 personnel in the future. I want to hear from offensive coordinator Press Taylor, because he kind of said some things that tied into what Ben Johnson said here.
What do you think the possibilities are for somebody like Zavion Thomas, just getting to know him and watching him and obviously having scouted him? But when you think about that player, what are the possibilities?
I think the first thing that leaps off the tape is the speed element that he brings. You know, obviously we know he's a dynamic returner. He's got a variety of experiences, though, when you look through his college career, lining up at running back, taking handoffs from the backfield, obviously being out on the edge, playing inside the numbers. You know, you see the speed and you see the complementary aspect of what he could potentially be with our group. He's going to have to go earn it. And that comes in the meeting room first, of earning some trust to get your reps, of showing that you can be trusted when you get there, and then being able to do something with it. So just like anybody, he's going to put in a lot of time, put in a lot of work, and we'll see where he goes as this thing builds.
This was Mark Grody asking about Zavion Thomas here. And Zavion Thomas seems to me like it was a Ben Johnson pick all the way. He was considered a huge reach on most people's draft boards, and yet the Bears took him in the top 100. There was whispers that he might go undrafted, everybody.
It's a damn shame. A damn shame.
I will say this in defense of the Bears is that Zavion Thomas is regarded as the best kick returner / punt returner in this draft class. And those guys tend to go at the end of the third round / early fourth round.
Okay.
So if the Bears prioritized this position in the draft and they wanted to get the best one, then
that was their man.
Mission accomplished, everybody. Some more things stand out here from Press Taylor, and that is that Zavion Thomas lined up as a running back in college. And I got to thinking here, KeNikka, what would happen if the Bears got into 13 personnel and, they got Colston Loveland on one end at the tight end. They got Cole Kmet at the other end at tight end. And they got in the backfield, Sam Roush. And right behind him is Zavion Thomas lining up as the running back. You're in 13 personnel with one of the fastest guys probably in the NFL right now, a 4.28 40. And then you run play action. And everyone crashes on Zavion Thomas because it's like, how are they not going to hand the ball off to him? And yet now all of a sudden you got Sam Roush wide open on an underneath route, or Colston Loveland wide open one-on-one downfield with somebody because the defense bought it. I just love dreaming up these ideas already. And I'm not even an offensive coordinator, everybody. This is a golden opportunity for Zavion Thomas here to kind of try to keep up and be a part of this offense right away. Dan Wiederer, he asked a follow-up question, everybody.
Zavion, where would you say his refinement needs to come the most as a receiver?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, none of these guys are finished products. So it's really just growing as an entire player. And so with him, it's going to be different. He goes from Mississippi State to LSU, learns a new system, comes here, learns a new system that's probably a little bit more in depth than he's ever been a part of. And then you're doing it and it continues. Every single day there's a new install. We're rolling pretty quick. So they're kind of drinking from a fire hose early on. You want to see that point in training camp where it hits that they're confident. And then you start to see their skill set really flourish. Where right now they're thinking. I mean, every time they break the huddle, they're thinking. Their mind's going a million miles an hour. We know you're not seeing the full skill set yet. And that'll come as they get comfortable and they start to understand what's being asked.
You heard it. It's going to be his third offense that he's learning in now 3 years. I mean, that alone scrambles your brain. Terminologies and words, that it's all going to be probably different from organization to organization to organization, even though it's all the same stuff a little bit.
True.
And I also wanted to point out here, Press Taylor, a great man of words, drinking from a fire hose, KeNikka, the visual of that. I want some AI visuals. I want to see people trying to drink out of a fire hose and getting blasted into oblivion. It's a good analogy.
Sure.
Press Taylor, though, at the end of this, I think he sounds like a teacher here. And this ties back to Ben Johnson when he first came on to the Bears in his introductory press conference. He talked about teaching the game to people. And I think that he is going to actually be a really great offensive coordinator here for what is now a very young Bears offense, everybody.
Good, better, bad! Good, better, bad!
Cole Kmet is like the veteran locker room leader on the offense.
Well, hopefully he can stay on the job a little bit longer than a year under Ben Johnson.
You hope that, but you don't have control over that. And again, I like to put that in the good problem category to have because it means that your team was successful.
Hell yeah!
As much as we want to have consistency across the board, year to year, if you're successful, the odds are your coordinators are going to get plucked, everybody.
I know.
Now, that brings us to Dennis Allen. Let's hear from him because, of course, everyone in the media, KeNikka, was like, where is the pass rush? We didn't draft a pass rush. What are we doing about the pass rush?
We're stuck in the past. That's all. At least the media is.
The media is stuck in the past, but I would argue Dennis Allen is focused on the future here,
of
folks.
Course.
A little bit of a longer clip here, but
Listen.
Great stuff.
And it's one Ryan and Ben about not drafting an edge. The message was that the staff has to coach better. How did you take that message, and what did you do with that message with your group?
Well, look, I mean, there's nothing that Ben said in here that he and I haven't talked about. We've had all these discussions, and I think when you look at things, the first thing you have to look at is, okay, what could I have done better? And then what could we have, as a staff, have done better? And we had a lot of discussions, this offseason about a lot of different things. And one of the things that we identified was, me we focused so much on installing all the scheme last year, because it was brand new, and we do have a high volume of things that we carry in the defense, and we focused so much on that we lost sight of some of the fundamentals and techniques that it takes to function, to do those things. And I don't think we were as fundamentally sound defensively as we need to be. So how do we have to coach it better? Well, let's minimize how much we're focused on the scheme, okay? And let's focus on not what we're going to do, but how we're going to do it. And I think that's how we're going to improve.
Here's what stands out from what the defensive coordinator had to say here, and he's not surprised by Ben Johnson telling the media that we need to be better coaches. He already talked to him about it, and they're locked in together. They understand each other a little bit here. I don't think even Ben Johnson was giving himself a pass. I think he included himself that we need to be better teachers. He didn't say Dennis needs to be a better teacher.
He made it as an all coaching department.
I really think that was a little bit of maybe the wrong way to address the question. Like, did you view that as a personal attack? It's like if he did, then Ben Johnson was attacking himself too, right? Either way, though, I want to give Dennis Allen a ton of credit here for looking in the mirror.
Thank you.
Is this so hard, everybody? Is this so hard? For anyone that says that Dennis Allen is on the hot seat right now, the way he said that and the way he answered that makes me think the exact opposite, actually. It sounds like a man that's comfortable where he's at and knows what they need to do to get better.
It's a man with a plan.
He has a plan. Exactly. And what is that plan? Well, he tells us a little bit. He wants to strip it back down to the basics. Work on the fundamentals of the game. And, that's another advantage of going younger.
Players come from different backgrounds, different circumstances of life. Why not start from the get-go on the same,
You almost have to year after year after year even. And obviously it's easier for veterans, but
of course,
when you strip it back down and get back to the basics, you reinforce a team philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Good, better, bad. Good, better, bad.
And that is what builds team culture, everybody.
Absolutely.
So I really love that Dennis Allen,
and they don't
stood
shy
up
away from it.
And he didn't he didn't shy away from it. He answered it, and
and this is where we're at. And
challenge accepted on his part, and it doesn't. We can challenge each other still, even at the coaching level.
So we're gonna have tryouts.
You can become a better coach year after year.
Absolutely.
And I think they already have a great group of coaches. But
well, we always say coaching matters, and you have a coach that takes personal responsibility. That's even better.
I'm not saying that this is going to fix the pass rush either, everybody.
No. But he's not blaming the players like everybody else in the media is blaming the viewers.
When that comes, KeNikka, that comes next year when it fails this year.
Sure.
If it fails this year. But if they get better results this year, maybe different decisions are made next year. Well, that was Ben Johnson, Press Taylor, and Dennis Allen. Those were 3 takeaways I had from them. But it's not everything, folks, because we got some bonus Bears. We got some bonus Ben, everybody. That's right. The head coach back at the mic. Let's hear what he had to say about the veterans coming back for OTAs, off-season training activities.
Did anyone's conditioning stand out to you so far coming back this year? Anybody looking different?
From our vets, I can't say off the top of my head. Some of these young guys that going into the second year, Colston's made a big jump. Luther's made a big jump, as you'd expect. And those guys were around for most of the offseason as well. You could go by the weight room and see them in there getting some work in February, March, and April. So I think that has something to do with that. But no, I think our group for 1 week in terms of the field work, I'm really pleased with what it looks like. These guys are dialed in. They're very focused. And like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the whole coaching staff is going back to the basics, and those guys are really embracing that mindset.
The first 2 things that stand out are just simply Colston Loveland and Luther Burden III. Ben Johnson saying that they've made big jumps, everybody, and that they were expected. And this is just not only in their football skill and their fundamentals as they were talking about, but also in their weight room approach and just the way they're getting themselves physically ready to play the physical game of football.
They open up a new tree skills.
You also hear Ben Johnson here reinforcing the message about going back to the basics that Dennis Allen was just talking about. It shows me that it's not just a defensive thing here that is happening inside of Halas Hall. This is a organizational wide moment because year 1 to year 2 with a coaching regime is where you tend to see, I think, the most upgrades. The Bears, for all intents and purposes, everybody said they were ahead of schedule last year.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know?
And from everything you hear from Ben Johnson right here and now, as they kick off year 2, it just feels like everything is running as he wants it to be, in a sense.
Well-oiled machine.
Everyone understood the challenge that was given, and everyone is on board. They're buying into this organizational philosophy. They're buying into the culture that's being built. They're not jerking around. They're showing up. They're focusing on their work when they're here, and they're building bonds between them. You know, like it seems like you have to start over every year, like he said, but it seems like we got a good start as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited about then you can bring these new rookies into that right away. And there's no like, we're all learning here together on the fly, so to speak. There's people that can set the tone outside of the coaches. Last year, it was all just the coaches setting the tone for everybody.
And now you see the veterans coming back and continuously buying into the same philosophy.
Absolutely. So get ready to be excited, folks, because we are on a new era of Chicago Bears football, and the arrow is pointing straight upwards as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Well, the time will tell.
Let us know what you think of Bears rookie minicamp. Were you excited by what you heard from the coaches about where we're heading in the future? Let us know in the comments below, and we will talk to you next time.